In June, we cut 55,000 stems. You just increase every kind of pressure if you have all the things together. Orlea seed is like evil, but can you imagine a world without flowers? She pulled up a lutein and packed it up, and we sent it to London, and I was like, that's my business plan.
This bed to me that looks amazing.
The mosh pit.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing another one of my farm tour series episodes, and I'm here with Kim from Marlston Farmgirl. Thank you so much, Kim.
Oh my gosh, thanks for coming all the way out here to see us on a not quite so hot day.
Yeah, well, yesterday I was at another farm and it was boiling hot, so it's nice to have a bit more of a cool temperature.
Not sorry I missed that.
Kim's farm is seriously impressive, and I can't wait to show the viewers around and answer some questions that they've got for you as well. Could you just tell us a little bit about how you got started and how Marlston Farmgirl came to be?
So I have always followed Erin at Florist, and during COVID I was out here with my husband. We didn't live here full time yet, and I just sort of thought maybe that sounds like a really fun idea. I would love to be a flower farmer. And so he let me take a little piece of the land behind our house and experiment. And my farm was 70 feet wide by long by 20 feet wide. So it was, I think I grew dahlias, sweet peas, cosmos, zinnias, some amaranth, and I don't know, maybe one or two other things, just to experiment to see if I could do it. And I was like, that's it. I love my dirty hands. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This is it. And then we came out and we found this land is my husband's family's, and they let us lease this little 11 acres here. And then we started with 2, and now we're 4.
Right. So you started off on 2, and that was back when?
We broke ground the fall of 2020. And then our first growing season was 2021.
Okay. And so how did you get started? Did you start off planting lots of perennials, or was it mainly annuals?
I had no idea what I was doing. So I sort of laid out the farm in my head, and then it didn't seem big enough, so I laid it out again, and then it didn't seem big enough, so I laid it out again. And we did it in like sort of a grid system where there were quadrants, and 2 quadrants of perennials and 2 quadrants of annuals, and then slowly we started eating up more spaces, and now it's a bit convoluted. There are rows that have annuals and perennials in them, so we're going to try this year to make that a better marriage.
Yeah.
But then I took Erin's course and learned some basic things, and was off to the races.
I guess for efficiency it helps to have all of your similar things that you're cutting around the same time in the
Well, so I thought that too, and then what I've learned is like you just increase every kind of pressure if you have all the things together. So if all of your cosmos are in one spot, the aphids are going to go all there in the beginning and chew them all out. Yeah. So we've got 3 beds of roses here. We've got 2 beds of roses over there. We've got 2 beds of roses going here. And by diversifying where we plant things, we've decreased insect and disease pressure. Right. Because if you've got a row here of diseased dahlias and there's detritus in the pathway, then that disease can travel to the next one. So this year the dahlias are all very close together because we left them in the ground, and that was just too much of a pain to dig those out. As everyone who has dahlias and takes them out of the ground, the worst job on the farm. Yeah,
100%. And what kind of soil are you on here?
So we are really on rocks more than we're on soil. It's very free draining. It's very silty, which has great properties. It's very nutritious, but I mean, at a time like this, we have to water a lot. And we've slowly but surely picked stones out, over the course of the years. But now we've got some really good infrastructure here with compost and muck and bloodfish and bone and cover crops. So I'm really proud of what our soil has become, because it did not look like that when we started. Yeah,
and it's surprising how quickly you can kind of develop your soil and your soil organic matter.
I mean, like cover crop. We do rotivate here because it is such a big piece of property that we first started off broad forking, and it's just, that we just don't have the time or manpower to do that. So we do rotivate, and we rotivate in a lot of goodness, but we let them either sit covered over the winter or let seed heads for nature stay over the winter, or we cover crop it over the winter. So we do try to take care of our soil, and I'm actually very proud of our soil.
So you should be. Back in 2020 when you started and you were on the 2
when I was very green, so to speak.
Where were you selling your flowers then, and how has that evolved over time?
Okay, so interesting question, because my husband said, "What's your business plan?"
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't have a business plan. What do you mean business plan? I said, if I build it, they will come. It'll be the field of dreams. And I had this idea that we would buy like an old pickup truck, and because I'm an American, I thought it should be an American pickup truck. So we bought a 1957 red Chevy truck, and I would cut flowers, and I would, make bouquets, and we'd take them to the farm shop, or we'd park the truck behind a school, and then we started to just pack the truck with flowers. We'd make arrangements to order. It's not a very profitable way, for the amount of time and energy that you expend to sell them over the weekend, and maybe make 800 pounds or 1,000 pounds. And I wasn't sort of sure how to change that. And then Lucy Vale, who's a London florist, called me at the end of our first season and was looking for some dahlias. And she said, "Do you have dahlias?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, I need 1,800. I'm like, "Well, I don't think I have 1,800. She said, "How many do you have?" I'm like, "I'll call you back." And I literally was like, 1 next week, 2, 3, 4, like counted them. Like I have 987 or whatever. And she said, "What else do you have?" And I said, "Well, I have cosmos." And we went down the line. She's like, "How many do you have?" And I was like, now I know I can look at an 8-foot thing, and I'd be like, okay, that's like 150 dahlias, and that will yield 200, whatever. But I didn't really know that. And then at the end of this, she pulled up a lutein and packed it up, and we sent it to London. And I was like, that's my business plan. I want to sell volume of flowers, and I don't want to cut 1,000 stems and then arrange 1,000 stems. I'd rather cut 2,000 stems and get rid of them.
Yeah.
So that became in my mind, and through that, I started really spending some time thinking about the cut flower industry here, and did some research and realized what a gigantic percentage of flowers are imported, and that became like a mission to have more British flowers sold here. So, and I think what we've experienced is that the only way to do that is at scale. Yeah. To be able to service a customer who wants 6,000 stems and not have to buy 500 here and 500 there and 500 there, and there's a lot of hubs being developed now, which is great for that kind of thing. Yeah. I'm very involved with Flowers from the Farm, and we're working towards, increasing that presence. So, it just sort of evolved. It was a very long-winded answer to your question about what I decided I was going to do. But the farm told me what it wanted to be. Okay, yeah.
And so now you are, how many stems do you think you're cutting week to week?
Oh, well, in June we cut 55,000 stems. Last week alone we cut 12,000 stems. I think the biggest we've ever cut in a week is about 15,000 stems.
And I presume that you have help to
yes, I could. I would have blisters all over my hands. We have a labor crew of young guys who come back year to year on their summer holidays from university, and we've got some women who have been with us since the beginning, and they're cutting. And then we've got people who have other skill sets. There's a woman who's very good at propagation. So all in, we have 13 people who rotate in and out.
Amazing. So we've moved over to this area of your field where you've got some amazing looking annuals behind us. We've got some gorgeous zinnias, and you were just describing this this bed to me that looks amazing.
The mosh pit.
But it looks incredible, and the bees are all over it.
Yeah, it's been a great year for bees.
Yeah. I wondered if you could just tell us kind of how many annuals you grow in versus perennials here on the plot.
I would say percentage-wise, it's probably 60 annuals, 65 annuals, 35 perennials. We're moving to improve that. But, there's pros and cons to both of them. Like this year, the Helenium lasted a week. So that's a workhorse for us, but, that didn't really help us out so much. On the other hand, the Saponaria also lasted a week because of that heat wave in June. So, I don't know. Every year I learn something new. Normally, sweet peas are literally one of our cash crops. We sell like 10,000 stems of sweet peas.
Right.
They were over the first week in June.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah.
We'll have lots of seed though.
Yeah, we'll get onto that later because you are producing seed, aren't you, this year?
Yeah.
Do you think that you'll be making a move towards more perennials as time goes on because it's maybe a little bit more easier to manage, or do you think that annuals are kind of your bread and butter?
I would never just do perennials. I think we should have more perennials, but like we walk down that area where we'll have 9 60-foot beds of just perennials and some more peonies, but it's 6 of one and half dozen the other. I love peonies. I think they're fantastic, but like that bed space is done, one and done. So I want every bed to produce a number, a dollar number for me, and if it doesn't, then I have to rethink what's there. I have realized I don't need an entire bed of Lysomachia. I mean, that's like, 50,000 stems in there. So this year we're going to dig up half of it and, pray that it doesn't come back and put something else in there. So it's always fluid, my plan. But for us, I can't imagine a world where I wouldn't grow cosmos.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 8 beds, 10 beds of cosmos, 300 plants each. That's a lot of cosmos.
Yeah.
And that's like a cash cow for us. I can't imagine a world where I wouldn't grow dahlias.
Yeah.
I was on the fence this year about roses. I'm not sure. I mean, I love them. They're not profitable for us.
Okay.
We had, everyone said, it's the best year ever for roses. Our first entire flush was decimated by caterpillars and aphid and green fly.
Okay.
So we didn't get any out of there. But the second flush has been amazing, but so fast because of the heat. So, I mean, I don't know if I can tear them out. I don't know if I can bring myself to rip them out, but I have to really weigh things every day. It's a constant, battle. Last year we had, I think there were 5 rows here of snapdragons that, again, because of the heat, they were staked incorrectly and the wind took them all down.
Okay.
It was 15,000 stems were gone in a day.
Yeah.
So you learn, you live and you learn, and you try to do better next year. But I think 50-50 maybe I would shoot for. I don't know.
Yeah. And so do you do the maths on what each crop earns you per bed?
Not each crop, because we do change the beds. I have a rough idea of what every bed. I know if it's spacing that's 12-inch spacing, I can get 279 plants in a bed, and if it's 4 by 5 spacing, which is 9 inches apart, I can get 440 plants. So if it's 440 plants and each plant gives me 10 stems, that's 4,400 stems. I'm making this up. I sell half of them, that's 2,200 stems, because there's wastage and climate and people don't like that color this year, which is always a tricky one.
Yeah.
I can produce 2,000 pounds in that bed.
Yeah.
So it's not an exact science, but I know exactly how many stems I've sold of everything, and at the end of the year, I can compare years.
Yeah.
It's really interesting this year, sweet peas. Oh my God! I mean, we've sold 4 stems of sweet peas basically.
Really?
No, I mean, we've sold more than that.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thing. It's devastating to see a crop that you love not produce well. And on the other hand, we've already sold more cosmos this year than we sold last year. So. Yeah.
Every year is just, you think that every year you're learning and next year is going to be better, but it's just totally different.
It's just a different learning curve.
Yeah.
Well, I was very proactive this year because last year we had a banger spring, and the ranunculus, oh my gosh, they went over so fast this year. So based on that, I grew more ranunculus, which just was more of a waste. So
yeah,
you've got to hedge your bets. It's a lot of, I'm going to do some more heat lovers because it was really hot, but the cool weather was so strong last year, so I do need some more of those, and that's when you start thinking about taking another 2 acres.
And I guess when you're growing on this scale, there's always something else to use
to back up
if one thing doesn't work out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whereas if you were on a smaller scale, it would be more of a loss.
Well, but you can condense that if you're growing on a smaller scale. You just have to do it in smaller increments.
Yeah.
It is hard to see a crop go over because there is blood, sweat, and tears in there. So
yes.
Especially when it's a popular crop like white sapinaria. We sold 1,800 stems in one day, and the next day the other half, that was half the bed, the other half was dead.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, that worked out. So that taught us to plant half a bed at a time.
Yeah.
And leave a space, and then when that goes over, but to be fair, the pink sapinaria was sown 3 weeks after the white was, and it went over at the same time.
Right.
So is it a longer succession? It's... my head goes crazy thinking about all of it.
It's too much to think about.
It is.
And have you noticed over the years that tastes have changed, particularly towards colour palettes? Do you find that people still want the pastels and the whites, or are more people heading towards the bright colours?
So when I first started, everyone's like, oh, the English, they really like pastels, and they, lots of, pale pink. And I was like, I really like color. And I grew a lot of color, like a lot of jewel tones, especially in the dahlias. Bonkers sales. Absolutely everybody only wanted color. And I realize now, I think that was a reflection of COVID. People wanted bright and joy and something to make them happy.
Yeah.
And then the next year I was like, see, I told ya. But I'm like, I'm going to grow a little bit more white and a little bit more pale pink, and nobody bought color.
Really?
Yeah. So it is, and I've learned to kind of watch the Pantone color of the year. This year, along with every other farmer and florist, I was like, brown? Good luck with that. There are no brown flowers.
Yeah.
Really. Nicotiana, bronze Nicotiana, and some beige zinnias. That's about as close to, what was it called, Cat Mocha or Cafe au lait?
Yeah,
and yes, I have to learn to sometimes take my taste out too. I don't really like yellow. I don't really like orange. I have come around to fall in love with GM, but those things are really popular. People love orange. Love it.
Yeah.
So yes, I have learned to watch Bridgerton and see what the colors of Bridgerton are that year, and pay attention to what tastes are. And I think the plus side of having more space is that I am able to take some risks and grow more of certain things.
Yeah.
So.
And are you able to kind of communicate with the florists that you sell to and what they're interested in?
Definitely. And usually starting January, February, March, we have meetings with all of our big florists. We sit down, we see all their mood boards, and obviously they get new weddings and new things come up. And then we find out what their color palettes are, what the tastes are running, and there's usually a theme that's running through every florist. This year was a lot of pale peach and pale pink. A lot.
Yeah.
Much less orange. Still a big influx of yellow. So, yeah, we just sit down, and then at that point we can seed for them. If they have a wedding in August, we know that we can seed, yellow zinnias or yellow xanthos cosmos, or do what it is that they need.
Yeah.
I like to think that we're a bespoke service. We, curate your flowers for you and grow for you.
Yeah, that's a really nice relationship to have with people, isn't it? Rather
it is
than just
really
kind
nice.
Of shipping your flowers off and not knowing where they're heading off to.
No, I love seeing the pictures.
And so you've got so many different crops growing here. I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to answer this question, but which of them do you think are your real workhorses and the ones that are your real favourites to grow?
So for favorites to grow and workhorses, two different things. So I love peonies, not really a workhorse.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the last 4 years, sweet peas have been a huge workhorse. They just give and give and give. You feed, they give.
Yeah.
Cosmos is the biggest workhorse, I think, on the farm. We just decimate that crop every week. We feed it every week. We water it every week. And the next week we're like, oh my God, there's another 1,000 stems in that row. Dahlias for sure are a workhorse for multiple reasons. You can divide them and get more tubers. They each give a gigantic amount of flowers every season. Hesperus.
Yeah.
It's just keeps going. It's a short season, but it is, for us, we could sell every stem that we could make the whole field Hesperus. We could sell it all.
Wow.
Scabious is a workhorse, but it makes you work for it. It's a constant deadheading situation. The perennials are workhorses because I think we started off with 18 Alchemilla mollis, and now we have 100, and we're going to divide them again and we'll have 200.
Yeah.
And we probably can't use them all, but then then I'm constantly thinking about how to improve the business and grow and expand. we're going to have a perennial sale this year, next year in the spring. So anybody want Lysomachia? Lots of Lysomachia.
So you are co-chair of Flowers from the Farm, which has recently become a trade association for flower farmers here in the UK. And I wondered what your take on flower farming in the UK was and where you think it should be heading.
From my perspective, I think I look at it from how, when I realized that only 17 to 18% of the flowers that are purchased in this country are grown here, I was like, well, that seems kind of crazy. And then I did some more research and realized in the 70s it was 70% of the flowers that were purchased here were grown here, and there was a lot more farming, and there was probably a lot more government support, but with or without the government support, I think it's incumbent upon us to teach and educate farmers, to teach and educate florists, to teach and educate the consumer about what it means to buy an imported flower. So that sort of became my mission. And then Flowers from the Farm very lovely asked me to join as one of the co-chairs. So I think we need to explain to people what that carbon cost is, how it's impacting the environment, what it means to buy roses from another country where, if you look at how they harvest the roses, the people who are cutting them are in hazmat suits. Florists in the last 4 or 5 years have started to take to wearing gloves to use Holland florists. So there's all kinds of wrong in that. And I think that we're making huge strides toward that, particularly with florists. And interestingly, I have seen over the last 2 years, more florists come to me saying their brides want British flowers.
Yes, yeah.
So that means that we are making, headway in terms of teaching people what that means. So in the big grand scheme of things, flowers use water, they use feed, but can you imagine a world without flowers? I mean, they bring joy to people, they celebrate happy moments, they commemorate sad moments, and I can't imagine a world where there aren't flowers, so let's try to do it as environmentally consciously as we can.
Yeah. And what kind of scale of growers do you think we need here in the UK? Do you think that it's good for us to have lots of small growers dotted around, or do you think we need more or larger scale farms like your own? I
think that we need both. To me, like every allotment grower or small backyard grower who is producing jam jars for their local flower shop or their local farm shop, every sale that is made there, it's a sale that didn't go to Holland or Ecuador or Colombia or Kenya. So I don't want to discourage anybody. To me, the more the merrier. But to make an impact, like a global impact, we need larger scale florists. And that was my journey, and that's what I experienced when, after the first year I realized, that's just one person who wants 1,800 dahlias. What if there are 10 people who want 1,800 dahlias?
Yeah.
And then the more I talked to the florists, and the more we had discussions about, then I started to get some really, really big florists, like one of the biggest florists in the country. And they asked if they could come out and see the farm. And they're like we have been waiting to find this, so that we don't have to cherry pick and get, they will support other farmers as well. And, we deliver 5,000 stems, they're getting 500 from someone else. But it's a service industry. No one wants to get in their car and drive to Dorset and Sussex and Hampshire and Berkshire to collect their flowers. So, I think that we have to encourage people to expand and, grow more high intensity. We're even pushing the high intensity limit here. So we are growing our cosmos this year together 9 inches apart instead of 12.
Right.
So that we can get more plants. And actually, they're thriving. So, there's things we can do to make your space more efficient. We have laid our space out in a way that is serviceable to us. We could put our beds closer together, but we have a lot of equipment and a lot of people who are trying to cut, so it works for us.
Yeah.
But even on a smaller scale, there's a way to be more impactful with how much you're growing.
Yeah, you've got to be smart about your successions and that kind of thing. Yeah. And growing things that really are going to produce a lot for you rather than things that are,
I mean, there's the vanity ones. We can't say no. We can't say no to peonies. We can't say no to our clematis. But there are certain things where you're like, I don't care. I have to grow it. And there's certain things I won't grow either.
Yeah. Would you like to tell us about which
I will not grow cornflowers.
I've heard that a few times.
They are just, I mean, the effort to pick them is just absolutely not worth it for me. It's like, it seems like a fight. There's certain things now I feel like I've earned a little gravitas, and I don't have to cut certain things here. I make other people cut them.
And so where do you see the farm moving to in the next kind of few years?
So like every year we're expanding, and we are really close to being, you know, how impact we can be and how close we can plant together. So we're adding another 9 beds. We might squeeze in another 2. On this side of the farm, we are digging up all of our perennials, which are now 5 years old. So it's time to, some of them have been dug up and divided. And then because that whole quadrant is up, I'm sort of toying with the idea of rotivating, plowing the whole thing and seeing if I can squeeze 10 beds in, you know, because they're perennials, so they could be closer together.
Yeah.
These we're going to make our perennials, everything that we grew here was a 4-foot bed and a 4-foot path.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said for consistency. All of our landscape fabric is 1.5 meters. It's all, you know, everything is based on that. But if we want more space, we don't want to have to do that over there, then we'll have to make sacrifices.
And you, like we mentioned earlier, you're thinking about branching out into seeds.
We have
so maybe
out.
We could talk about that next. Have we got somewhere else we can go?
Sure, yes. Let's go to we can go in the polytunnel and look at seeds that we've already started to collect.
Yeah.
So in here, we are starting to collect seed, which actually is probably pretty earlier than we've done it before. So this is, hate them. Orlea seed is like evil. This is the first of our Orlea that we're collecting. We are starting to collect a little bit of perennials. So we're going to offer Sedulcia this year, which we've never offered before. Most of the Hesperus and all that is gone. These are our sweet peas, and for the first time ever, this one is April in Paris. So beautiful, pale lavender decal on the edge, and then white cream on the inside. We have enough seed that we're going to be able to offer individual packets as opposed to mixes. We'll still have our special mixes, but I'm very excited about offering some new things. Don't think we're going to be able to offer this, but we have enough seed now. This is King's Ransom, the darling of the sweet pea world, but we'll have enough to grow at least a few hundred plants, and then next year hopefully we'll be able to grow seeds. And I started getting interested in seeds because if people ask me what's my favorite thing about the farm, it's seeds. It's growing seeds, it's planting seeds, it's pricking out seeds, it's collecting seeds, it's selling seeds. I love seeds. Like I love seeds. So again, if 17 or 18% of the flowers grown in this country come from this country, like 1% of the seeds that are sold in this country, and I made that number up, but it's very, very small. It's like 2-3%, something like that. So I said, why not have British seeds? You know, they're already proven themselves as being able to grow in this country. They are used to the climate. They're not naturalized, but they're something that is proven to grow here. Now, there are certain seeds we can't produce because they're F1 or they need to be isolated in order to produce the same seed color, but some we can. So we've got sweet peas, we've got some hollyhocks, we've got ammi is starting. We're starting to collect all the ammi, and then there's a whole process to thresh and winnow, and I just got really tired thinking about all the stuff we have to do to the seeds to get them ready for our sale. And we're just trying to grow some new things. So here we are in the Marlston Farmgirl zinnia breeding patch. So we have been bringing seeds along and we're not able to isolate them yet. We don't have the facilities to grow. For instance, this is B24. So that's this sort of double buff dome flower, which is, oh my gosh, look at this. I don't want to take it off, but you'll come and see it. It is so beautiful. So this is sort of starting to be pretty true. Like, is there a rogue in there? Maybe some of them are a couple singles, but we are getting that softer pastel form and color that we're hoping to have. Some of them are a little bit brighter. This is G23. Again, this is a different mix, so it is a little bit brighter. This is I23, which they have actual descriptions on them. I just haven't written them down on the back of the cards. But here, this is the perfect patch of, they're pretty much all the same color. They're all a very soft pink, not super baby, but not bubblegummy at all. These are like more bubblegum. This is called Tequila Sunrise. It's got this sort of pale yellow buff color. And then this is another pale pink with some peachy undertones to it. And, well, so that's a bad guy. That's a yellow one. So we want to get him out so he doesn't cross-pollinate them. But at this point, I'm very happy that these get a bit cross-pollinated because they're still all in the same family. Ideally, we would take these out here so this orange doesn't get pollinated in. And these zinnias we've grown away from the other zinnias. We have Florist, Dawn Creek, Blauma Flower Farm, and some Johnny seeds. They're all on that side of the farm. They still will be cross-pollinated, but these are our babies that we had one package of seed gifted to us in 2020, and I've slowly been plucking out all the ugly colors, except for that one. And we're super excited to be able to offer these seeds in a much larger quantity than we've had before. So coming soon to a seed sale near you.
So, Kim, we're about to round this off. We've had a really good chat and a walk around the field.
So much fun to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
You've given so much information, which has been really valuable, I'm sure, to the viewers. So, I just wondered if you could give us one final tip for flower farmers. There's lots of newbie flower farmers and excited flower growers that watch my channel. So I wondered if you could just give a tip for those people.
Absolutely. It all starts with your soil. Like, if you have the best plants in the world that you've grown from little seeds and nurtured all winter long, and you're going to put them out in the ground and you have crappy soil, all that's going to be wasted. We spend a lot of time and a lot of money on our soil, and this is sort of an example of, this is from a peony bed that was done the first year that we grew. So we did amend it. We rotivated it and added some compost and mixed to it, but it's never been touched since then because we don't really amend the peony beds. This is what a bed that's lived here for 3 or 4 years looks like.
And look at the colour difference, the organic matter in that. Exactly. Is fantastic.
And I mean, that's sort of what our soil started off as. Yeah.
And you can kind of, a testament to that is the health of your plants and how good everything looks.
It all starts with the soil. I can't stress enough that if you were going to invest in anything, invest in compost, muck, blood, fish, and bone, and get your soil tested, because a lot of things that you would put in your soil to amend it may not be right for you. So test your soil, do what they say, go buy magnesium if they tell you to buy magnesium, and all will come.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kim, for having me.
I'll give you a hug, but now I have soil in my hands.
I mean, I don't mind a bit of soil.
Thanks so much for having me.
And if you want to see any of my other farm tour videos here on YouTube, then there is a dedicated playlist to find those videos. I've been interviewing lots of people the last few days, so there's lots of cool new interviews to come.
So excited. I can't wait to watch all of them.
So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one.
Bye.